Good morning. Saturday, September 13th, 2025. It's time for Huddling with the Herd here on KYNT and KYN-TV. I am Brayden Butler. We're talking Bucks football, Bucks and Gazelles soccer, Gazelles volleyball, Gazelles tennis, Bucks golf, cross country, competitive cheer and dance. We got all of it today here on KYNT and KYN-TV. Here on Huddling with the Herd, we'll hear from the Yankton football coaches. Big win last night, 63-6. Didn't leave any doubt against the Douglas Patriots, moving to 3-0 on the season. Bucks got a tough matchup next week on the road, 11 AAA Harrisburg, a Saturday matchup. So next week's show will actually be a bit of a preview for Bucks football as well, which is out of the ordinary, but we roll with the punches here on KYNT and KYN-TV. This is Huddling with the Herd. It's brought to you by Explorers Credit Union. Discover the difference with ExplorersCU.com. As always, a big thank you to Pizza Ranch, legendary chicken and the best pizza, helping feed the coaches who come in this morning, courtesy of some pepperoni pizzas today from your Yankton Pizza Ranch. Big thank you to them as well for their support on Huddling with the Herd. We're going to take our first break, come back in a couple minutes, and we're going to have head coach Brady Muth, defensive coordinator Justin Olson in the booth to talk about Yankton Bucks football, a big win last night over the Douglas Patriots. This is Huddling with the Herd here on KYNT, KYN-TV. We're back after this break.
Vision Care Associates, where the health of your eyes comes first. We offer expertise and experience, where your long-term eye care is our concern. State-of-the-art technology, where we never lose sight of quality. Vision Care Associates, where the health of your eyes comes first.
Mount Marty is committed to excellence in nursing.
We really go the extra mile to care for our students as a whole person. My name is Crystal Diedrichsen. I am an associate professor of nursing at Mount Marty. As a Catholic Benedictine university, we can incorporate God and prayer in our regular classwork and interactions with students. And in addition to that, we care about the students in other aspects of their lives.
Start your journey at mountmarty.edu.
FNBO is the great big small bank. And for more than 165 years, we've been with you where you are. A bank that's ready for all your needs, both big and small. Here to help you earn more, save more, so you can do more every step of the way. It's what you can expect from the great big small bank. FNBO, independent and family owned for 6 generations, and ever so focused on you. Stop on by or visit us at fnbo.com, member FDIC.
If you want a job where your work matters, you belong at Avera. Here, we've invested in our workforce because every Avera team member drives our health ministry forward, making a difference in lives and communities every day. We offer competitive pay, great health insurance, and even career opportunities. We're putting people first, including you. Search for local job openings and apply at avera.org/careers.
More pay, more benefits, more opportunities. Parker of Yankton is hiring second shift assemblers and a variety of other positions. With competitive wages plus a night shift pay differential. Enjoy great health insurance, paid time off, retirement benefits, and a team that helps you succeed. Whether you're starting fresh or looking to advance, this is your chance to earn more while building a career you can count on. Don't wait. Apply today and make your next move your best move.
Parker, engineering your success.
Do you have a pest problem? Bedbugs, bats in the attic, termite damage, earwigs? Olson's Pest Technicians can tackle any of your pest problems. Family owned and operated with over 80 years of pest experience in South Dakota, Minnesota, and Iowa. Proven pest methods include Centricon bait stations for termites and Vicane treatments for bedbugs. Even the toughest pest infestations don't stand a chance. Olson's Pest Technicians, putting pests to rest since 1966. Call 800-KIL-BUGS.
Welcome back in here on Huddling with the Herd. We got head coach Brady Muth, defensive coordinator Justin Olson in the booth now, talking about a big win last night, 63-6. It's a game going in. A lot of people in the media obviously were picking you guys over Douglas. it's a game that you still have to treat just like everything else. And I felt like your guys really went out and executed last night.
That was the message the whole week was, and to be totally honest with you, that's our message every day is we're not, like, the score doesn't matter as much as I have a hard time getting other people to realize that the score doesn't matter. It's all about executing one play at a time. And so that was the mantra this week is you have to be 100% on every play. That's really all that matters. Don't worry about scoring. And it's real interesting what happens when you just let athletes be athletes and figure it out, the amount of success that they can have. And so from that point of view, from our coaching staff's point of view, I guess it was they did exactly what we wanted them to do. We wanted them to go out and execute 100% regardless of who we were playing.
And it felt like all facets of the game were executing well. 5 offensive touchdowns by our count, 4 defensive. We're forced to punt a couple times, and the execution there cleaned up after last week, a couple block punts. I felt like everything really went a lot smoother this week and led to a big win.
Yeah, absolutely. And the punt, I mean, there's probably some of those situations we maybe could have gone for it there, but we needed to get out there and prove that we can punt and have a clean operation, and we did. And I thought, too, at the end of the first half, scoring, I mean, quickly at the end, that was all designed. We were trying to get a score in before half because that's something we got to do. I just thought it was a fun game to play just because our guys executed well and we were the more physical team out there, and that's a really good recipe for success.
No, mentioned already, 4 defensive touchdowns. It's a perfect chance to get to talk to you, Coach Olson. 4 interceptions returned to the house, 1 from Cale Hazelhorst, 1 from Tegan LaCroix, and then 2 for Gavin Johnson. You guys were ball hawking out there, getting out there and jumping passing lanes.
Yeah, we knew this was a special group. I have never been a part of a game where you had 4 pick sixes, which is nice. They were just, they made great reads and they jumped it, and then they had some blocking up front too. The kids knew what to do. You pick it off, and then you peel around, and you go find the next colored jersey, and you try to get in front of it. And it was clean blocks, except for on one of them, I think. Tegan had one that got called back, I believe. So, but it was a fun night, especially for them. And again, I'm just going to reiterate what Coach Muth was talking about. This was a chance we had some things that we needed to work on to prepare for this game, and that's one thing. It's hard not to say, all right, well, we have some things to work on because you got to get to Harrisburg or Pier or whatever. So focusing on our technique is going to make our team better for this night, and it's going to help our defense solidify our defense. And there was some things that cleaned up, and there's some things that still need a little more polishing, which we saw, and which is fine. We get to get out this next week and prepare again, and it was fun to watch them fly around. And I think our defensive line did one heck of a job, and our backers. So we saw a lot of good things there last night.
A guy that I feel like at the rate he's going, I'm going to end up asking you about every single week. Gavin Johnson, he's been our back-to-back defensive player of the game. 2 interceptions returned for touchdown this week. Had a team-high 11 tackles last week. We'll have to restat to know exactly how many tackles he had last night. But it feels like he's really settling into that rover role for you guys and being a jack of all trades in the defense.
Yep, that's one of those spots where we actually were looking at him at strong safety, and then I was like, maybe he could play this, apex rover role, and he hasn't looked back. He really embraced it, and he's made it his craft to be the best that he can in that spot. And like I said, he didn't play at all last year because of injury, and so he's coming in hungry, and he looks really good out there, doing all the right things. Great tackler and great field sense, and that's what kind of makes that position hard to play. And he's batting close to 1,000.
And batting close to 1,000 is fitting because I was going to talk about he's another guy who I bet you can count on one hand the amount of guys that aren't multi-sport athletes, if there even are any on your roster. Yeah, but I thought he had a great baseball season, and to translate that into football,
I was just going to jump in there and say that. I mean, we came in this season not really quite knowing who was going to be in that spot, and in our defense, that's kind of the crux of the defense. It's a really important place to be, and you got to have the right guy playing in that spot. And we didn't have a whole lot of film on Gavin, like Coach said, because he got hurt. I mean, he dealt with injuries for most of last year, and so we didn't really get a chance to really see him as a player. But I saw him in the offseason. I saw him in the weight room and the work he was doing there. I saw him on the baseball field and how much success that team had and the role that he played on that team. And so that if we can get something across to people, that's why multi-sport athletes are important, because if you compete and you have success year round, everybody wins. And right now, the football program is really enjoying having Gavin Johnson on our team, because, and we're going to have a talk with Gav, because he's starting to look more like a football player than a baseball player. So, I mean, he's been. I don't want to say we're surprised by it, but he's been a great addition to what we want to do defensively.
Absolutely.
And he's a player where it feels like you mentioned how important that Apex Rover role is in the defense. Pressure of playing important positions doesn't seem to phase him. Catcher's one of the most, if not the most, outside of pitcher or center fielder. Those three are, in my opinion, three of the most important positions on the baseball field, and he played that very well too. So it's just a guy who doesn't crack under pressure and seems to do what you guys ask him out there.
Yep, absolutely. Always around the ball and in both positions, and he's proven it. So he's been a great bright spot in our defense. Definitely.
I'll expand more on the offensive side of the ball when we bring in Coach Huber, but I just want to talk about first 100-yard rusher of the season, Jay Sedlacek, over 200 yards rushing as a team. Felt like more of an emphasis on the run game this week. I know Tate only threw about 6 passes, so just talk about the preparation going in there and then Jace's ability to get and find those open lanes.
Yeah, I'll let Coach Huber speak to this a little bit, but what I'm seeing, from my spot, what I'm observing offensively is, we've got an offensive line that has a lot of new pieces in it, and trying to get that figured out, how those guys are going to gel together, and then we have plays set up to hit every gap. It's just different blocking schemes for those, so we try to implement what's going to fit best for the scheme that we're playing against. But more importantly, is the guys that are playing on that offensive line, where do they feel most comfortable? Are they more comfortable running zone blocking schemes? Do they like down blocks with pin pull? And I think what you're noticing is Coach Huber and that group is really starting to build some really good synergy. They know exactly who they are at this point, and they're figuring things out. And I think that was what you saw a little bit last night, was the run scheme, the way it was blocked up was way better. And Jace, got to reap those rewards, and really happy for Jace, because Jace is one of those guys that, we've had our eye on Jace for a long time. He's a talented kid, and for him to get out there and make a splash like he did last night, it's a really good thing for Jace and for us.
Yeah, talking to Coach Huber in the post game last night, he was the one who came up with us, and he mentioned that Jace had said to him on the sideline that he's getting 3-4 yards before he's even getting touched for the first time, because of the holes and the blocking up front. So that offensive line really was moving them last night.
Yeah, we want to be the more physical team, and that's part of what they've gotten really good at, is get on the right track and get to where you're supposed to be. And if somebody is in the opposite color, put them on the ground, and then we'll worry about getting the right guy blocked. I think last night you saw, with everything, it was a physical game up front, and I thought our guys did a good job of making holes.
You can break the regular season up into thirds, really. You've now got your first 3-game stretch. You're starting 3-0. It's an interesting 3-game stretch coming up. You go on the road on a Saturday against Harrisburg next week. You come back home for homecoming against Pierre, which is always a fun matchup with the Governors. And then you have your West River trip of the year, going out to take on Sturgis in a couple weeks. So just focusing right now on Harrisburg. Extra day, is it extra day of rest or extra day of preparation for you guys?
Both. And so that extra day gets built in, and the plan is we've just moved everything, just slid everything one day, which is going to be good for us, because it's going to give our JV a little bit more of a chance to get into installation and get a little more individual attention that they don't normally get, because we're in a game Monday and they miss out on that. The game planning part of it is going to be, this is going to be work to our advantage. We're going to be able to have meetings on a Monday and have like a classroom installation the way you normally would do that. And then if we need to, we can go out and put a little bit on field work, and then we're going to lift. But the big thing for me is Monday they get a day off. They don't have to be football players until 6:30, 6 or 7 o'clock at night. They can go do their thing, get home, be with their family, have a nice meal, get maybe caught up on some homework, and just feel like a normal student. I think just that rest part of it, the mental rest of it, because it is a grind. You said we just got done with the first third of our season. Then you tack on 3 more weeks of that with practice. So this is a nice time for us right now, and we've discussed it as a staff, and this is definitely going to turn out something that we want to turn out in our advantage. And so we've got that all planned, and we're just excited to get to work on Harrisburg.
And we'll talk about it more next week. Next Saturday morning is going to end up being more of a preview show if you guys are available. Obviously, I know game days are a little different for you guys, but What are your thoughts heading into the Tigers? I know it's a tough AAA school again.
Yeah, they're the biggest, one of the, I don't know if they are yet, but of the high schools in the state, they've got a big school and got a lot of players. They've got a roster that's built the right way. They've got college football players, on the field playing. They're big and physical. They've got a quarterback that's good both in the run and the pass game, and so it's a big challenge, and it's exactly what we want. This is why we talk about it doesn't matter who you're playing, because last week we were picked to win that game. I'm sure everybody is going to pick us to get beat this week. Fine, I don't care. We got an opportunity to go play a team and a really good football team, and the plan is to go whoop them. That's the mantra. It doesn't change. It could be Ohio State. It does not matter. We've got a game on Saturday, and we got to find a way to beat those guys, and we're going to beat them being more physical, and that's the message.
And then defensively, Coach Olson, I know Coach Muth just mentioned they have guys who are going to go play at the next level collegiately.
Right.
Some of them like high-tier D1 guys potentially. So how do you match up with that defensively? So maybe better athletes than you've seen early in the season, especially on the edges.
Well, number one, I really like our guys, and we have some guys that potentially go and play some college football as well, and this will be a good test for them. Like Coach was saying, we go into it thinking we can. Whoever's across from us, we're gonna beat them, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get into our meetings. We're gonna scheme. We're gonna do whatever we need to do, and then eventually, the players have to execute, and that's kind of what we're setting the table up for. And this works out great. I mean, we get that extra day, like Coach Muth mentioned, and I think that the mentality of this group is they're solid. I mean, they're a fighter mentality, and whoever steps in the ring with us, we're going to punch right with them. And when the bell rings, and I'm sure the 12th round, it will be. We feel good about where we're at and what we've done to prepare for it. So we'll get out there and give it a heck.
Well, thank you both for coming in this morning. Congrats on the win last night. 3-0 to start the season. We'll be up at Harrisburg with you next week, and also we'll talk to you next week, more of a breakdown for Harrisburg as well. Thanks again, guys.
Yep,
Thanks.
You bet.
Thanks, Brayden.
That was head coach Brady Muth, defensive coordinator Justin Olson here on KYNT and KYN-TV. We're back in a couple minutes to keep things rolling here on Huddling with the Herd.
Lucky for us, life is full of choices, big and small. They define us, make us who we are. And when it comes time for you to choose a car, home, your next big adventure, or start a new business, Farmers Union Insurance has the variety of coverage options to protect each perfect moment. Farmers Union Insurance.
For coverage you can count on, call Brendan Hansen or Brandon Tykrow in Yankton today.
If you've been suffering from chronic pain or a recent injury, check us out, Lane, Reed, and Cole Sawatsky at SWAT Chiropractic and Rehab.
We offer a wide variety of treatments and techniques, including dry needling, cupping, chiropractic adjustments, and sports rehabilitation.
Our mission is to ensure an individualized and efficient treatment plan to get you back on your feet.
From ankle sprains and sports injuries to neck pain and headaches, we've got your back.
Give us a call or book an appointment on our website. SWAT Chiropractic, specialized wellness and therapy.
Now located on Summit Street across from the high school.
When you make the right decision, it feels good. Like picking the perfect accent rug or choosing a good night's sleep over an all-night crime show binge. It feels really good to make the right insurance decision too. That's why State Farm agent Rhonda Westland is right here in Yankton to help you select the right protection at the right price. Rhonda will make sure you understand your State Farm coverages so you'll know what to expect if the unexpected happens. With State Farm agent Rhonda Westland, it's easy to make the right choice. Just call her. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Looking for the perfect pair of glasses? At Vision Care Associates, we've got you covered. Step into our showroom and discover our vast selection from timeless classics to the latest trends. With several styles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect match for your look. Experience personalized service and expert care, whether you need help finding the right frame or adjusting your new glasses for the perfect fit.
Vision Care Associates, where the health of your eyes comes first.
Credit union people are my people. Dreaming big, keeping life simple. Saving smart, living free. At Explorers Credit Union, you're just like me. We chart new trails, we stand tall. Together we rise, together we call. Credit union people are my people, it's true. And I found my crew at Explorers. See you. journey today.
Are you huddling up with the relatives for the holidays or a Yankton or Mount Marty football game, but don't have enough space in your locker room? Book rooms at the Fairfield by Marriott or Holiday Inn Express. There won't be any roughing penalties with their clean, comfortable beds and no interference on a relaxing stay. Remember, instead of everyone at your house, call on Audible and book rooms at the Fairfield by Marriott or Holiday Inn Express. For great rates and flexible reservation changes, call either hotel direct.
Welcome back in here on Huddling with the Herd, KYNT, KYNTV. It's presented by Explorers Credit Union. Discover the difference at explorerscu.com. Also, a big thank you to Pizza Ranch, providing pizza every Saturday morning as they do to feed the coaches as they come in. We got offensive coordinator Terry Huber, also works with the offensive line, and then special teams coordinator, wide receivers coach Brady Hale in here now. And we'll start off with an easy question. How is the Pizza Ranch pizza this morning?
Very good. Yeah, fantastic.
It always is. Big thank you to them. Easy way to plug the sponsors when everybody loves it. Let's start things on the offensive side of the ball. Different method, same result this week. Running game was definitely more of the focal point this week against Douglas. Over 200 yards rushing on the ground. Jace Sedlacek eclipses the century mark for the first time this season. And we talked last night on the post-game show, Coach Huber, that the offensive line was really opening up those running lanes for Jace, and he was taking advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's the challenge that, you know, we have as a group of linemen. You know, every year when we're graduating some of these seniors, and especially last year, we lost a lot of talent and a lot of years of experience. Bringing a couple starters back, but getting those new guys and everybody to mesh together, it takes a little bit of time. And, you know, especially some of those varsity reps, it takes a while. And I think every week we're going to see these guys continue to improve in that running game. This is a very special group of kids. They're easily to be coachable, and I thought that they really got after it. You know, I like I said last night on the show, they were talking about, you know, semis driving through the holes that these guys are making, and you know, I think Jace just took every advantage possible last night. And not only was he getting through the hole initially, but when there was contact, he was driving his feet. He's running hard at a great angle and finding the extra space to make those big plays. And, you know, very proud of how he did and how the line did last night.
I know Jace is a hockey player in the winter, so contact doesn't really phase him, or he's not afraid of it down there as a running back. That's got to be nice to have as your lead back.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's a whole lot that does phase that kid. He's very calm, cool, and collected, like at all times in his life. I don't see a whole lot of ups, a whole lot of downs with him. He's just ready to do the job. And like you said, you know, that outside experience, you know, being a hockey player, that physical sport, bringing it into the physical sport of football is phenomenal. We absolutely love that back there.
You know, quieter day for the passing game, and I know in the past, and both of you can speak on this. I know, Coach Hill, you work with the wide receiver room or focus with them as well. But when you have that kind of step, I don't want to say step back because it was still super efficient. 4 for 6 for Tate Bestie, 70 yards and a touchdown. You might have some guys in the receiver room who are like, oh, we didn't get the ball as much this week. But from what both of you guys have told me in the past, these guys aren't like that.
No, they're celebrating everything. They're excited for all these guys. You know, I know. I think right away when Jace had his first touchdown, that's all you heard from Tate and from the receivers was, you know, we're so excited that he got his first touchdown of the year. You know, they wanted these guys, and that Edley gets one, and they're jacked. And you know, I know Owen had one that got called back as well. You know, that would have changed our yardage by, you know, another 40 yards or so. But it's really fun to see just the support that those guys have for one another, because they understand that we need to have both facets of the ball clicking on all cylinders in order to get where we want to be by the end of the season.
I think Coach Topol made the joke as he walked in today that it really hurt the fantasy numbers for guys out there playing 11 AA fantasy who had picked some Bucks receivers in their lineup. Didn't expect the running game to be the focal point this week, but that's just the balance of this offense, and it continues to be. Switching things now and talking about special teams, early on in the game, it felt like Yankton was going to be able to score every time they touched the football. It did get a couple punts out there, and that's something that I know Coach Muth said you guys really wanted to rep in a game scenario after some miscues last week.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously last week we talked about that, just had a couple struggles, had a couple things we needed to fix, but that's what's great about football is we had the whole week to kind of fix those things. And then obviously our goal is to never punt, but it was good to get some reps, and I thought we executed well for the most part. And that's a credit to our guys. They took that as a chip on their shoulder and said, we're not going to have the same performance that we had last week and put that back on film. So I thought it was important to get a couple reps, and I was proud of the ways the boys were able to execute.
We saw all three of Yankton's kickers get some playing time.
Mhm.
Both Kevin and Liam ended up on extra points. Asher came in and had a kickoff there late as well. And is it back-to-back weeks now perfect on extra points after some mishaps in week 1 there? So that's clicking well as well.
Yeah, Kevin 7 for 7 and Liam 2 for 2. Like you said, Kevin missed a couple the first week, and he wasn't happy with that. So he kind of put in some work, and it was just kind of a thing where he needed more reps and more reps. And obviously a game like that last night, we got a lot of reps kicking extra points, which was nice for our unit and the confidence of those kickers. Because there's going to come a point in the year where we need, every point's going to be crucial. So it's important to get confidence early in the year.
A couple of things I want to talk about on kickoff specifically. Multiple touchbacks for Liam Villanueva.
Yeah.
One almost perfectly killed it at the one. You guys could have recovered there. A dicey situation yesterday for Douglas. But also just kickoff coverage. I know Jolton Reimnitz-Hahn comes back this week. He is a guy who, him and Kylan O'Connor kind of pop on tape when you watch kickoff coverage.
Yeah, those two are absolute, just perfect kickoff. I mean, they're exactly what you want. They are full speed. They don't slow down. They're either going to go right through you or they're going to find the ball and make a play. I mean, it's just they're usually right around the ball, if not making a tackle. And Jolton is a huge part of our special teams, especially last year. He was a huge part of our success. And I was so excited to get him back. And overall, I think our units they really buy into it. And there was a point there where we kept, a pick six and then a kickoff, a pick six and a kickoff. And you'd think maybe the kids were sick of running down on kickoff, but they're just as excited every time. So that's fun to be a part of.
It's a group of guys that loves to play the game of football.
Absolutely.
You can see it every Friday. Every Friday, that immediately changes this week. Saturday game coming up against the Harrisburg Tigers, playing up a class. What do you guys need to execute for that next week to come out and have a good showing against a school a class above?
Yeah, I think offensively we got to be physical, playing with low pad level, communicating with each other, and getting off the ball. That's going to be huge with these guys. Getting that extra step. We need a 2-yard surge up front. Our receivers, they got to be with the quarterback, and they have to be on cue with each other. Which right now I feel like their connection is going phenomenal. But it's going to be a big week for those guys. We got to be able to make sure that we're getting crisp routes in there, and running the football is going to be hard. We got to make sure that we're down low, we're getting downhill, but we're going to need all parts of the game this week, all three sides, to get a good win here.
I know Harrisburg, one of the largest, if not the largest high school in the state now, with how rapidly they've grown. They got athletes who get some premier coverage, and I feel like Yankton's got better athletes than they might get credit for, and they just don't have that same coverage level as an 11 AAA school just outside of Sioux Falls when you got that big media up there. But it should be a lot of fun next Saturday to watch. We'll be up there with you guys in Harrisburg. And Coach Hale, it's probably going to become a running trend here. You were almost dead on last week. One score win over Montana State out in Bozeman. What's the expectations tonight against Drake?
I think 32-point win.
South Dakota State going to keep that machine rolling against the Bulldogs.
There we go.
Well, we'll see what happens. I know USD over in Vermilion, too, looking for their first win of the season. They got Northern Colorado trying to get back into the race of the premier team in South Dakota. It looks like the Jackrabbits are on their way for another really good season for them, so it's going to be tough. Thank you both for taking time this morning to come in here and talk. Congrats on another big win last night, and good luck next week. We'll see you. Well, I guess next Saturday will be more of a preview. It's going to be interesting next week having to play on Saturday, but we'll see you then. Thanks again for coming in.
Thank you.
It's assistant coaches Terry Huber and Brady Hale here on KYNT and KYN-TV for Huddling with the Herd. Back in a couple minutes. Keep things rolling.
Buying a home isn't just about real estate. It's about investing in yourself. At the Move Group, we believe the best time to buy is when it makes sense for you. Our expert agents put people before transactions, meaning we listen first, provide honest guidance, and help you make a confident decision. No pressure, no gimmicks. Markets change, but the right home is about more than just numbers. It's about finding the right fit for your life and your future. When you're ready, we're here to help. Contact the Move Group today.
Have aches and pains taken you out of your game? At First Chiropractic Centers, we have been helping people get back into their game for nearly 40 years. Whether your game is sports related, Or it looks more like gardening, household chores, exercising, or just daily life, if your pain is preventing you from enjoying or participating in your chosen activity, we can help. With offices in Yankton, Hardington, Tyndall, and Wagner.
First Chiropractic Centers, making life better, one adjustment at a time.
Looking for fuel or more? Stop by Triple Time Rudy's, your locally owned convenience store at 17th and Broadway. At Triple Time Rudy's, they're proud to support the community, offering fuel discounts to Yankton's largest employers and backing local activities and events. Inside, you'll discover regional favorites like Dimmick Cheese and premium meats from the Kaler and Renner lockers. Whether it's a quick snack, a tank of top-quality fuel, or a taste of local goodness, Triple Time Rudy's, fueling your day, fueling the community.
Are you looking to buy or sell a home but not sure where to start? I'm Deb Speck with Vision Real Estate, and I'm here to guide you every step of the way. With 20 years of experience and a passion for finding the perfect match, I'll work hard for you, answer all your questions along the way, and make it stress-free. Call me at 605-664-5555, and let's get moving.
Is it the competition that keeps bringing you back? The long-standing rivalries? Or is it seeing friends again and cheering on your favorite team? At First Dakota, we're here for it all. We appreciate the fans, the players, the coaches and officials, the concessions crew. The shared community experience is part of what makes life here great, and we're here for it. See you at the game. First Dakota National Bank, member FDIC.
Fall sports season is here, and so is Yankton Medical Clinic, with 3 orthopedic surgeons to keep you in the game. Whether you're gearing up for football, volleyball, soccer, or cross country, the YMC orthopedic team is ready to support your winning season. Stay in the game by seeing one of 3 board-certified orthopedic surgeons immediately. No referral necessary, no bouncing between buildings, and no hassles. Just complete orthopedic care when you need it most. Call today or visit yanktonmedicalclinic.com. So much care, so close to home.
Welcome back in here on Huddling with the Herd. Dan Schwach and TJ Beacom now in the booth with me. Of course, head guys for JV, but also Schwach working in the D-line and Beacom working with the quarterbacks. So we'll start with a big win last night for the varsity squad, 63-6 over Douglas. And we'll start on that defensive side of the football. I felt like no matter who was rotating in on that defensive line, there was a lot of pressure on pass plays and D-line, multiple tackles for loss. We'll know the exact number when I go back through and restat that tomorrow, but felt like the D-line played very, very well, creating pressure in the backfield.
Yeah, game plan going in, just stop the run and make him pass on us then and trust those guys in the secondary. We got through a lot of guys in the first half, which, I mean, we had the time to do it, I guess. It took forever in the first half, but William Guzman-Yugowski, again, just settling in, plugging up the middle, and those 2 big guys on the offensive line, Drace and Austin Conway, that come in at the 1, and not a lot of guys in South Dakota or a lot of high school players in South Dakota can push those guys back. So, and then obviously Edley and Talon at the ends, they do a great job of pushing it back inside to them, and all in all, a good D-line effort.
And you mentioned some beef in the interior of that defensive line with the guys you mentioned who rotate through with Guzman-Yugowski and Drace Gaskins, Austin Conway. It feels like it's a good mix of athletes on the edge and that run stopping up the middle. But those guys can get in the backfield a little bit as well when called upon to create some pressure from the middle.
Absolutely. I thought we got Jake Walter in there a little bit too. Now that Ben Bowman's back on the offense, so was able to get Jake in there. He got a couple tackles for loss. It's always fun that's kind of our mantra. If you're not double teamed, you better be making tackles, and that was kind of the case last night. And they might have even been double teamed a few times and made a tackle. So great effort, tough kids. It was a fun night.
I don't know there's many names on that defense who didn't get at least partially a tackle for loss. A lot of pressure was being generated. I know a guy I didn't mention earlier on with rotating through, Jake Bivens, got in the backfield for it was either a sack or a TFL. I couldn't tell if it was a quarterback was scrambling at that point or not, but it ends up being a big play for Jake, and the entire defense playing really well, holding Douglas to under 100 yards, both passing and rushing. I think 170 some total yards for the Patriots yesterday. And that all starts right there in the trenches with that D-line.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jake Bivens, I'm going to go ahead and mark that a sack unofficially. I believe he was under duress, and Jake came in and grabbed him, finished the job, and he provides great rotation piece with those ends, and keep getting excited at how they keep learning more every week.
I'm not gonna say I don't rig the numbers. This isn't Jordan in the '90s averaging like 3 more blocks a game at home than on the road. But if benefit of the doubt, Ty goes to a sack in that situation when I watch it back. We'll switch gears now to the offensive side of the ball. Coach Beacom, I know you work with the quarterbacks. Not really a busy day at the quarterback position. Tate Bestie only throws 6 passes as the starter. You do work your other quarterbacks in. Tegan LaCroix and Jackson Kudera both saw some play time there. But he didn't need to throw a lot of passes. Tate was still efficient with what he had, 4 for 6, 70 yards, and a touchdown by our count.
Yeah, not at all. I felt like we didn't have the ball very much, especially there in the first half. So thanks, defense. But when we did, we moved the ball. We were able to run the ball. And then, when Coach called pass plays, I thought Tate was effective. Probably once one back where he maybe could have had a touchdown on a post. But all in all, good night, efficient night.
I'll start with the youngest here. I want to talk about Jackson Cooter. I was kind of excited to see him get some time there. I know he ended up only throwing 1 pass. I don't know. I might have been a little too geared up to get some varsity play time, overthrew his receiver a little bit, but it looked like a great ball, and that's promising to see from a young sophomore who, when we talk about JV, had a great JV game earlier this week as well.
Yeah, he really did. He's really came a long way. He's got a strong arm. He's been accurate, and, now we've been working on the run game with him too, so he's got a bright future for us.
I guess that's the easiest way to transition into talking about the JV game. A win earlier this week over Huron, 40-14 final score. Jackson Kudera got credited 286 yards passing, 68 yards rushing, 4 total touchdowns for him. So we'll just keep talking about Jackson there as he really led the charge against Huron.
Yeah, he had a great game. I think it really helped that we got the running game going, so we had a little bit more balance, and then that opened up the passing game. We were able to move Ivan Hirschman from running back out to slot receiver, which is probably, his natural position for him, and he had some big catches right away. But all in all, yeah.
You mentioned Hirschman and the run game. Hirschman had 9 catches, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns. So that's a change that really worked for him out there, feeling comfortable at wide receiver. And then Malik El-Mustafa credited over the century mark, 106 yards and a touchdown there. So we're really working on the offensive side of the ball for the JV earlier this week.
Yeah, we really had it going, run and pass, and that's something that we really try to do each week.
And looking at the defensive side of the ball, Max Eichenberger is a name I'm seeing on the stats quite often here early on. He also had a big game in the freshman game from the looks of it, which I'll talk later on about that. But 6 tackles to lead the team here. Triker Myers and Max Muller each recovered a fumble for Yankton on defense as well. So really, anytime you only give up 14 points, too, you got to be proud of how the defensive side of the ball went.
I think, we're going to count 7 of those up to a special teams miscue, not to keep and score here. So we're going to say it was single digits for the defense because they do deserve to have that honor of not giving up a lot of points. Talking about Max, Mad Max kind of off the edge, kind of injuries and at certain positions have had us bring up a couple of freshmen, and they kind of been baptized by fire, thrown to the wolves a little bit. 3rd game in now for him after getting a little playing time, and he's making plays. They kind of both him and Trigby Lutton got in, started at the apex, kind of safety linebacker combo for us, and they kind of give the guys some juice, and they're on special teams running around. So that was great to watch and get some learning time with their future teammates. Triker Myers has just been steady on the JV, both sides of the ball, for the last 2 years. And he's, hopefully it doesn't happen, but right there, ready to be called on a Friday if we need to. Carson Heck got in last night a little bit earlier, big number 71. And he's slowly kind of piecing everything together where one of these times he's going to put a couple plays together, and he is going to be hard to hold off the field too. So it's exciting to watch him develop. And defensive secondary, they're starting to feel a little more confident, call out calls with each other. Will Sager should have had an interception last night, but he'd been learning on Mondays, and that kind of translated to seeing what should have arguably been called an interception, it was an interception, but let stand. So good game defensively, and just finally kind of maybe a little less thinking, a little more playing.
It's you're probably walking a fine line sometimes when you watch these guys who are stars for your JV team get to come up to the varsity level, because one, seeing them get that opportunity Friday night under the lights, but if they make too much of an impression on Friday, you might lose them a little bit earlier in the week too if they get caught up to more varsity reps. So that's got to be an interesting feeling for you guys.
Yeah, you just kind of, it's a pretty common occurrence. We sometimes only get them for a couple of games, but it's and especially if no injuries are involved, or it's kind of fun to see them develop and get a little confidence and get up to there on Fridays.
You got a road matchup next week for, both teams. JV will be on the road against Sioux City East, I believe, on the 15th, if I have that correct. And then obviously Harrisburg for the varsity level. We'll start with JV. What are you guys expecting early next week, taking on going across the border to Iowa to take on East?
I think it was our closest JV game last year, so expecting a tough challenge on Monday.
And I know I follow some Sioux City media, being an Iowa boy. Grew up about an hour from Sioux City. Sioux City East's varsity team just had a overtime game with Bishop Heelan last night, and that one was a lot of fun to look back on and see that one. I got some friends in the media who covered that game, so I got to see that from their eyes on the sideline. But it's usually a good program, regardless of sport, and football should be a lot of fun for you guys next week for that one. And then varsity level, Saturday night game under the lights at Harrisburg High School, 6 p.m. kickoff for that. What are you guys expecting going up to an 11 AAA school, a very good one at that, with the Tigers?
Yeah, really looking forward to the challenge. I know it's to the bane of some Nebraska fans that it's, I believe, right around the same time of the the game. So get our DVRs ready. But they, very good team. Good quarterback, good athletes. Big line. It will be the biggest offensive line, defensive line we've seen this year, and probably that we will see. So just kind of try and somehow trick ourselves into thinking it's a Friday night and just go out and play hard and see what we can do.
And I was talking to Coach Muth about it earlier on. If you break the seasons up into thirds, you finish your first 3 games 3-0. This middle third is an interesting stretch on the road against a AAA school in Harrisburg. You come back home. It's homecoming for Yankton against Pierre, who's always a fun game against the Governors, a tough team regardless year after year. And then your longest trip of the season the week after against Sturgis. So how are you guys feeling heading into this now middle stretch of the season?
It's going to be a tough stretch, obviously, but excited. We're relatively healthy at the varsity level, so I think we'll be ready to go.
And I'm thinking of next Saturday now. I mentioned Coach Beacom. You're a Husker fan, correct?
Right on. Yeah.
Right on. So you and I are going to be in the same boat next week, and Josh Bolter as well. Or might be checking the Michigan-Nebraska score next Saturday at times, especially in the pregame there. But should be a fun Saturday of football next week. Coach Schwach, Coach Beacom, thanks for taking time to come on here today.
Thanks, Brayden.
Thank you.
This is Huddling with the Herd on KYNT and KYN-TV. We're back in a couple minutes to keep things rolling.
Recently, a small business owner came into the UPS store to pick up a banner we printed for her latest event. As we rolled it up, she asked if we also designed brochures. The answer? Absolutely, we can help with that too. For over 7 years, the UPS store in Yankton has been helping customers with all kinds of printing, from large banners to detailed brochures. Come see us today and find out how we can assist with your next big project. And don't forget to ask about our print specials.
Save time when you shop online with Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee makes it easy to order groceries online through our app or Hy-Vee.com. Pickup is always free. And if you have a Perks Plus membership, you get free delivery and free express pickup. Shop online with Hy-Vee and you can create and save grocery lists, shop the sales, and get fuel savers. Talk about convenient. Order groceries online today. Check out Hy-Vee.com or download the Hy-Vee app.
Have aches and pains taken you out of your game? Sports injuries can happen quickly, posing threats to your health and ability to participate in your regular athletic activities. I'm Dr. Mackenzie Erlinson from First Chiropractic Centers. Chiropractic care can provide pain relief from sore and aching muscles and lead to faster recovery after workout by easing the inflammation you experience, like stiffness, pain, or restricted movement. Visit with us about managing your sports injuries.
First Chiropractic Centers, making life better, one adjustment at a time.
It's game on at Yankton Pizza Ranch. Our buffet is loaded with hot pizzas, sweet desserts, and the country's best chicken. Plenty of food and plenty of room for a whole team or your whole family, whether you're celebrating a big win or just hungry for one. Everybody leaves full and happy. So huddle up and make it a buffet day every day from 11 to 8 at Yankton Pizza Ranch.
It's where life tastes better. Surround 'em up and head her down to the Pizza Ranch. Whoa, that's good.
Ever have one of those days? Your car breaks down, your dog decides your couch is a chew toy, and oh yeah, a tree falls on your roof. Don't worry, Missouri River Associates has you covered. Auto, home, pet mishaps, we're here for all of life's little oops moments. Call 665-6885 for your free quote, because life happens, and we're ready for it.
At Vision Care Associates, we're always improving our technology for the health of your eyes. With OptiMap dilation-free exams, you get a comprehensive view of your retina without the need for dilation eye drops. It's quick, easy, and best of all, it keeps your day interruption-free. OptiMap captures a detailed image of your eye, helping to detect any problems. No blurriness, no discomfort, just clear, precise results. Book your OptiMap exam now.
Vision Care Associates, where the health of your eyes comes first.
Welcome back in here, KYNT, KYNTV, huddling with the herd. We're talking a little bit of varsity, but we're also going to focus primarily on freshman football right now with coaches Jason Savvy and Alex Topol here on KYNT and KYNTV. First of all, we'll just start with last night. I know Coach Savvy, you work with the running backs. Coach Topol, you work with the defensive backs, and both of those position groups really had impressive nights last night against Douglas, over 200 yards rushing for the Bucks, and then defensively, multiple interceptions returned for touchdowns. Lost count at some point. I believe one even got called back for a penalty. So you guys were really all over the field. We'll start offensively with the running back group and an emerging star in that group, and Edley Amaro, Coach.
Yeah. Edley got his first carry of the year, I think. I'm pretty sure, and he made it count. So I joked as he scored the touchdown that he looked like he had some moves of a halfback there, not a fullback. He made a little juke move, and then I don't think many of those Douglas guys probably want anything to do with trying to tackle him either. But it was fun to see him get into the end zone, so that was nice.
I was going to say, there's offensive tackles who don't want to deal with Edley Amaro. I imagine there's corners and safeties that want to deal with him even less. Jace Sedlacek was the star of the show yesterday, 139 yards rushing for him, a pair of touchdowns. He eclipses the century mark for the first time this season, and he's consistently, it was the same amount of yards from week 1 and week 2, 73 by our count, but he's consistently been more efficient with his yards per carry.
Yeah, Jace is worked really hard, and we've kind of just been waiting for, a good breakout game. And it was nice for him to have that yesterday. The first game you go back to, he had a lot of carries and a lot of, kind of those middle range yards, just hadn't been able to really break free in a lot of his runs. And so it was nice to see him start the game off with that really long run that he had and just continue to find holes and run through guy. I mean, he didn't go down, first contact. We kind of stressed that too at the running backs, yards after contact. And then I've been really proud of our guys about taking care of the ball. That's one thing that's top priority. We talk about ball security, taking care of the ball. And they did a great job of that last night. And it was fun to see other guys get in. We got to see Carson Crawl get in and get some reps at running back and stuff like that. So that was nice.
And anytime you get some more of those underclass guys, the JV guys getting to rotate through when you're up like that, able to be put on a dominant performance last night over the Patriots. Defense played a big part in that, multiple pick sixes, and Coach Topol working with the defensive backs. That's kind of your area. Before we talk too much about that, though, I want to just kind of talk about you. You're stepping up in the staff this year, coming up a little bit, replacing Blake. Assume just focusing on girls basketball as a head coach of that program for him. But you get the call up here and let some people know about you that if they don't know you before. What's your background and how long have you been part of the staff before now stepping up again?
Yeah, so I'm a 2008 graduate, played for the Bucks way back in the day, and being a 5'7" guy, and being a cornerback, you kind of have to be technically sound to be somewhat successful there. And carried on through that. I got hired as a teacher a few years back. I've been a varsity assistant since 2020. But with that as well, I've been at the middle school coaching down there and working with a lot of the kids that we see that are up on the JV varsity level right now. So being able to work with those kids for multiple years, seeing them growth and their development and all that stuff, it's been really rewarding. But so this year I've been bumped up to the freshman level and filled Blake's position as the defensive backs coach.
And with that as well, we could talk about the defensive back room that you work with. Multiple pick sixes, 2 for Gavin Johnson. Kale Hazelhorst had one. Tegan LaCroix had one. I believe that was the one that was called back. I can't remember. There were so many last night. I have to go back and watch the footage back. It just feel like that entire defensive backfield was flying to the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things I always tell them as defensive backs, you have to have a short memory. And it goes for the good and the bad, because after a while we lost track of how many interceptions and touchdowns we had after a while. I was giving Coach Beacom a hard time up in the coach's booth that I think the defense had scored more points than the offense at that point. But it was fun getting everyone involved. After a while, they go with intensity. We go in every game preaching that you have to be ready for your opponent. Always bring that intensity every single time. And, they did. And they were still hungry. And even after their first couple interceptions, some of the DBs looked disappointed that they didn't have one. And, it was just a big charity event yesterday and all the giving that was going on to Yankton.
Yeah, you got a bunch of ball hawks back there. I know Kale Hazelhorst has been and kind of the ball hawk of the secondary. He got a pick, but just everybody was getting a bite of the apple, so to speak, last night.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's one of those things, too, that, I cannot take any credit for what happened last night because, I sincerely believe that we probably have the most talented defensive back group in the entire state, class regardless. Miles Drotzman playing with one arm, essentially. The kid is just an absolute athlete. Same with Tegan. Carter Boone's one of the most coachable kids that I've worked with. Extremely smart, intelligent. Kale, same thing. And just the depth that we have there as well. It's one of those things where we have guys going both ways, so it's easy to look at the side and say, hey, you go fill in, whatever that may be. And, with that, we've been extremely happy with what we've gotten from all levels with defensive backs.
And I'm glad you brought up Miles Drotzman because I didn't want him to get lost in the shuffle. It's a name that doesn't get called much on the broadcast, but for a cornerback, that's kind of what you want. He does not get brought up because he locks down his side of the field. He'll come up and make a tackle when he's called upon. He's not afraid of contact there, the kind of cornerback cliche for him, but he is a very, very good player, even with one hand right now as he's working with a club.
Yep, exactly. And that's just it, too. If you're a cornerback and your name's not getting heard, that's a good sign. And, with him, just from that jump from last year to this year, again, as far as athletic development, he is just an absolute freak of an athlete. But you see that maturity with him. You see that leadership showing up. And, especially for a defensive coach like Coach Olson, it makes life a lot easier. And you can just tell your 4 defensive backs, hey, cover. Everyone else, we're going to go crazy, get to the quarterback, get to the runner, whoever that may be.
And it felt like pressure was definitely dialed up last night. And that's a testament to the defensive backfield and their abilities to make plays. Let's switch now to the freshman side of things. A 36-0 shutout of Huron this week. We'll start on the offensive side of the ball. Kind of similar to the varsity stat line for your quarterback, Carter Saylor. 5 for 7, 114 yards and a touchdown for him, but he had 9 carries, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Kind of the dual threat action at the freshman level for him.
Yeah, he had a great game. To hit the century mark, both passing and running, is not something that happens very often. So that's a testament to his, athletic ability. So he's been throwing the ball a little bit better. And then we've been able to open up the running game a little bit more. We're starting to kind of settle in the, first couple games, you're still shuffling kids around a little bit on the line, things like that. And now the kids are really starting to get comfortable with the plays, get comfortable with their positions, things like that. And it's starting to show. And, we definitely saw, and what you want to see, that improvement week to week. And we definitely saw that from, week 2 to week 3 against Huron here. where the kids were executing a little bit better. And Carter was one of those, obviously, like I said, in the passing game, he made some really nice passes, was very efficient, his passing percentage. And we didn't pass it a lot, but on the ground, we were able to open up some really nice holes, and our running backs made some, really nice moves here and there to break free and get themselves into space and able to score some touchdowns. So it was fun to watch.
And offensively as well, the stats I saw, Adrian Van Osdell had a pair of touchdown receptions for him in the game, too, at wide receivers. So it was working well, and that's with Saylor only credit for one touchdown pass. Is Brayden Scott threw the other one, I believe?
Yeah, he's one of our receivers, and we have a little play. We stole from the varsity, obviously, but little double pass play, and we were able to run that. The first time we ran it, and so we wanted to try it and see if we could execute it right, and we did. Brayden got the ball, and he threw the pass down to Adrian and ended up going in for that was our last touchdown that we scored, but it was good to see the boys execute that well.
Well, from one Brayden to another, shout out to him for that touchdown pass. Always doing the name proud.
Right.
It's always nice to know that there are a lot better athletes with the namesake than me. I always make the joke that from a young age I love sports, and I figured out very quickly I wasn't an athlete, so I had to find a different way to be involved. But no, it's great there. And switching gears to the defensive side of the ball, there's a guy who had a big week at the sub-varsity level. He led the JV in tackles, too, with Max Eichenberger. He was credited with 8 tackles for the freshman this week. And when you're starting already at the freshman and JV levels early on in the season, that's a name that's going to be earmarked for the future, I know, for a lot of Bucks fans.
Yeah, he's got a bright future ahead of himself. Football, athletics aside, he's a phenomenal kid. Again, this is a group that I've worked with since they were 7th graders, and to see their development every year. When they're 7th graders, they won like just 1 or 2 games. Last year we went 5-2, and this year to start off 3-0, it's a big confidence builder. And Max has been a linchpin of that since day one. He had his 8 tackles. Unfortunately, they had a lot of QB designed runs, so just the sacks that you didn't see on the stat board. The kid gets in the backfield. There's a couple of times where I think he's going to take the handoff from the quarterback before the running back gets it. He's just an absolute animal. That's across the whole defensive line. We have Carson Schulte and Abdul El Mustafa, who they eat things up in the middle. Then the other side, we've had a nice rotation of Landon Bottleson, Evan Odens. They've been absolutely outstanding in that spot.
And then also Keston Molman was right behind him, 7 tackles and a couple interceptions for your defensive backs as well. So
yeah,
great week for defensive backs in Yankton in the interception department.
Yeah, and just from the level down, the big thing we try and teach him is, see as much of the field as possible. Keep everything within your vision, and especially when we run like a zone coverage, no one behind you, see what's in front of you, and when that ball's in the air as a defensive back, you have every right to it, just like a receiver does. So be angry, be aggressive, go up and get that football, and get the offense the opportunity to score for us if we can't.
I talked about it when I was talking to the JV coaches with Coach Beacom and Coach Schwach, talking about that level of things. Sub-varsity level, you get to play teams that you don't usually see at the varsity level. I know the JV is traveling to Sioux City East next week, and you guys also crossing the border, but into Nebraska for a matchup with Norfolk. So what's the game plan there, and what are you looking ahead for with them?
Norfolk is very similar to us usually every year. I've been coaching for quite a while, and, it's always been kind of back and forth. You're not really sure, like with anything, what to expect. But we'll watch some film, and Norfolk's kind of become one of those fun rivalries because, like you said, we don't play them obviously as a schedule when you get up into varsity and stuff. So it's been a fun rivalry. It's a nice little, it's a 1-hour trip down there and back, and it's usually a very competitive game. Usually our teams are pretty well matched. So we're looking forward to a competitive game, and like I said, we're just looking to build on what we're doing right now, continuing to fine tune things in that aspect. But we'll find a little bit of film on them, and we know what they've done in the past years and stuff too. So we'll prepare like we do every week and be ready to go.
It's got to be nice at the sub-varsity level to play some more regional opponents that you don't see at the varsity level, but especially when I know the varsity, their longest trip this year is out to Sturgis. So hopefully don't have to make those trips for the sub-varsity level, but if you guys do, it's nice to have these regional games too.
Yeah, we got our pier trip out of the way, so that's good. But we have our Watertown, I think, is our longest one coming up yet. So not terrible, but Yeah, we're fine not having the 5-6 hour road trips with the freshmen.
Sometimes being in the southeast corner is a blessing and a curse when you got to play some of those teams, especially out west or up north in the case of Watertown. But good luck to you guys against Norfolk next week at the freshman level, and also Saturday game against Harrisburg. How does that change your guys' mindset, having to prepare an extra day to prepare?
Yeah, it'll be good. The coaches will have a little different, practice planning going on to prepare the boys and stuff. But it'd be kind of a nice switch up, playing a Saturday afternoon game, and we obviously know Harrisburg's a good team every year, so it'll be a really good challenge for our boys. So I think our boys are going to be locked in this week because we'd love to go up and obviously get a win on their home field. So we'll be looking forward to that.
I got one final question here for you, Coach Topol, and it's not really just a question. It's to bring up a story that's stuck with me for a couple years now. 2 years ago would have been the senior year of Shaler Platt. He comes back from an injury, and I was running camera at this time, and I'm focused on Shaler on the sideline because he's going out for the kickoff. The mindset is you've been off for a couple weeks, get out there, hit somebody, feel contact again. And the first person that he feels contact from is not a player on the opposing team. It's not even a player, as I very clearly see you headbutt him on the sidelines. Shaler had a helmet on, but you weren't issued a coach standard helmet. So how'd that feel, and what's the mindset behind that as well, trying to hype the guys up?
Well, especially with coaching defense backs, just defense in general, I always preach about, it's almost 50% scheme, 50%. It's a mentality. You got to be angry. You got to be aggressive. You got to be someone who wants to go out and hit. And, it's one of those deals, lead by example, get them fueled up because, especially with varsity games too, there's just such a long wait period before the games. You see people, they keep that intensity, listen to their music, and then still have an hour before kickoff, they kind of lose it. So you go out there before kickoff, defense, whatever, and you get them fired up. And, for them, like when you're the person headbutting, it doesn't hurt near as much when you're the one giving the force, but it shows them that, hey, look, this psychopath here is, he's going to headbutt me without a helmet. So, maybe I could, do something like that. No, obviously safety first, don't hurt anyone like that. But, get in there and, it's going back before Shaler, but, now you get the opportunity to chase things like that. But now that I get older, my brain gets a little bit more sensitive. And, so it's going to be a little bit more selective with the headbutts here going forward.
Going to have to retire that move.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, I look like Bill Romanowski here after a while.
It was because my thought was, either of you remember the I can't remember when it came out, Kevin James movie, Paul Blart Mall Cop?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
When he headbutts the guy in the ball pit and the guy falls and nobody wins with a headbutt. It's my first thought every time. But it's, at the end of the day, Yankton won. So that's what mattered that day. So
those little victories right there.
Thank you both for coming on and talking today. Coach Savvy, Coach Topol. We'll talk to you again next week. It'll be just to talk about freshmen and a little breakdown of Harrisburg next week with a different mindset with the Saturday game.
Format for you guys too.
Yeah.
Oh, we figure it out as we go along. Tends to be the trend for me. So thank you guys again for coming on, and we'll talk to you again next week. Good luck out there.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
This is Huddling with the Herd here on KYNT and KYN TV. When we come back, we're going to keep things rolling, talk some volleyball and soccer here on Huddling with the Herd.
Credit union people are my people. Dreaming big, keeping life simple. Saving smart, living free. At Explorers Credit Union, you just like me. We chart new trails, we stand tall. Together we rise, together we call. Credit union people are my people, it's true. And I found my crew at Explorers CU. Federally insured by NCUA. Visit explorerscu.com to join the journey today.
Vision Care Associates, where the health of your eyes comes first. We offer expertise and experience, where your long-term eye care is our concern. State-of-the-art technology, where we never lose sight of quality. Vision Care Associates, where the health of your eyes comes first.
Welcome back in here for Huddling with the Herd, KYNT, KYN TV. We're talking soccer and volleyball now. We'll start with Bucks soccer. Picked up their fourth straight win on Tuesday with a 2-0 defeat of Brandon Valley. Jack Patterson bagging a brace in the win, scoring both goals for the Bucks. He was assisted by Joaquin Polito and Christian Pacheco in that one. And the Bucks, after a 1-3-1 start to the season, are now 5-3-1, knocking on the door of some media polls as well in the state. They do travel to Huron next Tuesday for a matchup with the Tigers. Only one game this week, so a week off between games, getting some rest and relaxation, but also extra preparation for the Bucks soccer team. As for the Gazelles, they ended their draw streak on Tuesday. Back-to-back draws for them before a 3-2 win over Brandon Valley earlier this week. 3 different players scored the goals for Yankton. Aviana Seiler, Jocelyn Elwood, and Eden Wolfgram all etched their name onto the score sheet. 5-1-3 now for the Gazelles. I did mention those back-to-back draws, but only one loss for Yankton. They were 5th in the latest Class AA coaches poll as well, so getting some statewide recognition in Class AA. They will also travel to Huron on Tuesday for a matchup with the Tigers. Pair of matches earlier this week for Yankton Gazelles volleyball. On Monday, they fell in 4 sets to Sioux Falls, Washington. Set 1 ended 25-17 in favor of Washington. Yankton took set 2, 25-13. A close set 3 was in favor of the Warriors, 26-24, and then Washington pulled away in set 4, 25-16. Tyann Bestie with a big game, 11 kills, 13 digs to lead the Gazelles. Berkeley Olson added 5 kills and 7 digs, and a rotation at setter as Elena Nelson and Brenna Elwood combining for 26 assists. Nelson had 16 along with 4 aces. Brenna had the other 10 assists in that 3-1 loss to Sioux Falls, Washington. On Tuesday, the Gazelles picked up their second win of the season. It was a 5-set thriller with Sioux Falls. Roosevelt stumbled out of the gate. Roosevelt took a 25-8 opening set. Yankton battled back 25-19 in set 2. Washington takes set 3, 25-16. Yankton 25-18 and then 15-13 in set 4 and 5 to secure the win after being down 2-1. Tyann Bestie again, that's a name we're going to have to start paying a lot of attention to at the varsity volleyball level from the looks of it. 12 kills and 11 digs for her, 22 assists for Brenna Elwood, 15 assists for Elena Nelson. They combined for 21 digs as well between the two of them, and Elwood had 2 aces. Haley Wortman as well had 5 service aces in the victory for Yankton. They will host Huron on Tuesday at the Summit Activities Center for their next game, so we'll keep an eye on that one for Yankton Gazelles volleyball. We're going to talk about Yankton Gazelles tennis real quick as well before going back to break here on Huddling with the Herd. They picked up an 8-1 win over Sioux Falls Roosevelt in their lone matchup of the week. That was back on Tuesday. They swept doubles play and took 5 of 6 singles matches. And by my count, Yankton Gazelles tennis has not dropped a duel yet in September. It was late August the last time they fell. They will face Mitchell and Sioux Falls Lincoln this coming Tuesday at Hitchcock Park in Mitchell. So that's another Yankton team that has a week off of rest. The back half of the week, not a lot of Yankton athletics to really talk about. There's a lot of early week sports and competitions for these teams, and they're seeing that some rest here in the middle to late portion of the season, depending on the sport. That is going to change when we come back, though. We're going to talk Bucks golf, cross country, and competitive cheer and dance. And Bucks golf just competed yesterday. A big home invite. I believe 16 total teams competed in the event. We'll tell you where the Bucks finished when we come back. This is Huddling with the Herd, KYNT, KYN-TV. We're back after this.
Mount Marty is committed to excellence in nursing.
We really go the extra mile to care for our students as a whole person. My name is Crystal Diedrichsen. I am an associate professor of nursing at Mount Marty. As a Catholic Benedictine university, we can incorporate God and prayer in our regular classwork and interactions with students. And in addition to that, we care about the students in other aspects of their lives.
Start your journey at mountmarty.edu.
FNBO is the great big small bank. And for more than 165 years, we've been with you where you are. A bank that's ready for all your needs, both big and small. Here to help you earn more, save more, so you can do more every step of the way. It's what you can expect from the great big small bank. FNBO, independent and family owned for 6 generations, and ever so focused on you. Stop on by or visit us at fnbo.com, member FDIC.
Welcome back in here on Huddling with the Herd, KYNT, KYN-TV. It's time to talk Yankton Bucks golf. I mentioned that a lot of Yankton athletics competed either early in the week or, in the case of cross country, haven't competed since last week, but that is not the case for Bucks golf. placing 4th out of 16 teams yesterday in a home invitational, shooting a 319 as a unit at Hillcrest. Easton Velick led the way, tying for 3rd individually. He carded a 1/73. It was actually part of a 3-way tie for 2nd. Second place was won via a scorecard playoff, and then Easton ended up tying for 3rd in the event with the other half of that 3-way tie, or the other 3rd of that 3-way tie. Yankton will travel to Brookings. Quick turnaround on Monday for their next competition. So good luck to the Bucks on Monday as they travel to Brookings. But congratulations on an impressive performance. 4th place at their home invitational yesterday at Hillcrest. I've never golfed Hillcrest, but I've heard it can be a tough course at times for people. So congratulations to the Bucks there. And Easton Velick leading the way, a 1/73, tying for 3rd. Bucks and Gazelles cross country now. They haven't competed since last Friday, the Augustana Twilight meet last week. They are in Brandon today, and they actually are currently competing, if not just wrapping up competition, as the boys varsity 5K began at 9:30 a.m. The girls varsity 5K was scheduled to begin at 9:55. Both those races might be completed or close to completing if everything was on schedule. I believe the boys varsity 5K is done, but results not yet posted. The girls varsity 5K most likely underway, if my math is correct, if they got started right at 9:55. Good luck to the Bucks and Gazelles in that one, and we'll have the official results, the full results, Monday morning as part of your sports report here on KYNT. And lastly here, let's talk about Yankton competitive cheer and dance. They had an home invitational at the Summit Activities Center earlier this week. The Gazelles tied for 4th in dance and placed 7th in cheer on Thursday in the event. The Gazelles dance team scored a 35 to tie for 4th, led by a 3rd-place finish in the jazz category. Yankton would score a 195.5 to take 7th in cheer as well. So congrats to the Gazelles competitive cheer and dance. Some impressive showings at the home invitational earlier this week at the Summit Activity Center. That was Thursday night. Next up for Yankton is a road invite. They travel to Brookings on September 20th, so a week from today. That is next Saturday. Competition will begin at 11 a.m. for them. That's going to do it for another week of Huddling with the Herd. Everything you need to know going on around Yankton High School athletics right here, KYNT, KYNTV. Thanks to everybody that came in today to speak with us. Big thank you to Explorers Credit Union for sponsoring the show. Discover the difference with explorerscu.com. And as always, thank you to Pizza Ranch for providing some pizzas here on a Saturday morning. I've been Brayden Butler. This has been Huddling with the Herd. Until next time, stay safe, be good people, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody.
FM 1021 and AM 14.